Hey everybody, this is Rick, also known as Duke City Devil Dog. Today is the 18th of December 2021. I am in Maple Hill, Kansas, and I am on my way to Indiana to deliver this load. Um, this is the first load out of three that's designed to get me home for Christmas, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Uh, just wanted to, last video I posted, I was in Las Vegas getting ready to leave to deliver my load down in Redlands, California. Pick up a load in Buena Park, which was a live load, and run that up to Nebraska. Well, to let you know the importance, besides just being required, but the importance of doing a good pre-trip every day, is I found a flat on my trailer right before I got ready to run on leaving Las Vegas. Well, it took them, because there was a backlog, it took them a while to get to my trailer to get it fixed. Once they got it fixed, I had noticed right away that there was going to be no way, once they told me about how much time it was going to take for them to get me in, there was no way I was going to be able to meet the live load in Buena Park. So I got a hold of my asset manager, said, hey, we got to find something else, because I haven't had a service failure yet, and I don't intend to have one. So what they did is they pulled that load off of me, gave it to somebody else. They got me a load going from Southern California, from Mira Loma up to the Salt Lake City area. The tough part about that was it was about 1,300 miles on the trip that was scheduled from Southern California to Nebraska. And that was going to finish up my week really good. Well, this ended up giving me about 670 miles to finish up my week instead. So I wasn't thrilled about it, but there wasn't a whole lot I could do. But what they did for me is they got me this current load, and that's the load that was picking up in the Salt Lake City area and running all the way out here to Indiana, which ends up being total, including the deadhead, almost 1,700 miles, 1,650, 1,700 miles. So it's a great load. And like I said, it's the first of three loads designed to get me home for Christmas. One of the things about Crete, Shaffer, and Hunt is that they promise, if you want to be home for Christmas, they're going to get you home for Christmas. Now, it may just be that day. Maybe you get in the day before, or late in the day, but they're going to get you. They're going to find you a load to get you home. And the way that they do that is they start working in November to try to look and to line up loads. So they find something. They start with your last load, the one that's going to get you through your house, and they plan that one first for you, and then they back from there. So in this case like this, my asset manager, who's amazing, Sarah, she had to make some changes, because she had that last load, and then they had this load to Indiana, and she was able to find a load from Indiana to Texas, which is where my load to get me home for Christmas picks up. So I'm going to go from here to finish up this load in Indiana, go from Indiana to Texas, Texas to New Mexico for Christmas. So I'm psyched about that, and I really appreciate it. But that's how important it is for this company to get you home for Christmas, if you want to be home. Now, you can run if you want to. You can take you can try to get them to run you home a few days later, or for New Year's. I know some people are doing that. But if you want to be home, they're going to get you home. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about, I've been talking a little bit about things that are important to have. First things we talked about were, I talked about having a really good buddy that you can talk to, that knows the trucking industry, that you can do with that. I talked about attitudes I thought you should have. Now, because in this load here, I want to talk a little bit about navigational tools that you need. Okay, most people nowadays, or I don't want to say most people, but a lot of people, they rely on a GPS alone. And I don't think you can just do that. And I'll give you an example as far as this load in a second. A GPS is important. I think you do need a GPS nowadays. I think it's a good tool. It needs to be a trucking GPS. If it is a GPS app for your phone, it needs to be a trucking GPS app. Why is that? Because those are designed to pay attention to the weight and height and width of your truck, and to make sure that it doesn't send you to places where you can't take your truck. Now, sometimes it messes up, and it does, or things change and they don't get reported to the company that does the maps and everything like that. But for the most part, if you use a regular GPS and not a trucking GPS, it's going to send you the shortest distance to get there. It's not going to care whether, it doesn't care that your truck's 13'6" high. And it's going to try to send you under a bridge that's 11 foot. It doesn't care that the bridge can only hold 10 tons and your truck weighs 40 tons. It doesn't care about that, like a trucking GPS is going to pay attention to and try to route you around those things. So it's really important to have that. But you also need to have a good old-fashioned atlas. Now, I use the Rand McNally Atlas. I bought the one that I bought, I spent a little bit extra, and I got the one that is laminated. And the reason I got that is because I also use dry erase markers to outline the route sometimes. And sometimes you need that, because sometimes, your GPS is going to route you weird ways for some reason, something that's there, and you need to have looked at it. Like, for instance, one of the things that a lot of these GPSs do is that they try to connect to your phone to talk about traffic, and to look at traffic. And the thing about that is that a lot of times a road will show that's closed, and it tries to route you around that. Well, what it actually happens is that just that side of the road is closed, and it merged into a two-way to get around to some construction, but it's not telling you that. And if you didn't pay attention and look at your route on a full-size map, you might not understand that. You might not understand really what's going on there. The other thing is that, going back to the idea that it's a full-size map, you can see the whole, whether it's the state or the region or whatever, you can see that all in one page. If you're using a GPS or your phone, you got to scroll up and down and side to side to try to look, or you got to make the map so tiny that it's really hard to see any kind of detail. So both of those things you need to have. Your phone is important to have as well, as far as navigation, because you need to be able to look up weather conditions and road conditions and those kinds of things. And that's where I'm coming from for this. So I'm on Interstate 70 right now. Now, I picked up this load in Sandy, Utah, which is in the Salt Lake City metro area. And the route that was given to me, not only by my GPS, but also by my fuel stops that the company gave me, was going to take me across Interstate 80, across Wyoming, and into Nebraska that way. And to go across Interstate 80 all the way through Iowa, through Illinois, into Indiana, and then to deliver. The problem with that is that I know that there's been a lot of issues, and there always are issues during the winter, but any time of year there can be issues with wind going across Wyoming. So I looked to see, and there were road closures, a number of road closures in Wyoming, that the roads were closed to high profile and light vehicles. Well, in this case, with the load I have, I'm both. I'm a high profile vehicle and I'm light. So I was going to get shut down mandatory and get stuck in Wyoming for, who knows, a day and a half. Just turns out, I looked it up, it would have been a day and a half I'd have been sitting there in Wyoming before I could have rolled. Well, I used my map. I used my map on my atlas. I used my phone to check all the conditions, and I used my GPS to find a route that was going to allow me to run south of I-80. And what it did is it routed me south on I-15 to US 6 to Interstate 70, which is going to take me through Vail Pass. So I had to worry about that. I had to look up that and see if I was going to be able to get through there, or was I going to get stuck trying to get through Vail Pass. Well, luckily, Vail Pass was pretty clear. There was a little bit of snow, but it wasn't bad. And it added, this whole trip added about 30 miles. Now, I'm not going to get paid necessarily for those 30 miles, and that's all right. It's, it's, $20, whatever that I could have made. But I would rather lose the $20 if they don't give that to me than to lose a day and a half. And so I was able to plan my route. Once I got on the route, I sent in a request for a new fuel solution, and they sent me a new fuel solution, and I was set. I was compliant as far as my fuel solutions, and I didn't add a whole lot of miles to the route, and I saved a day and a half of sitting. So right now, I'm about 1,100 miles into this load. I got about 550 miles left to deliver it. If I would have gone the other direction, I'd have been about 400 to 500 miles into the load, and I would have really had to hustle to get this to where it needs to go on time. So, it's important that you have those tools. Please buy an atlas, buy a hard atlas, it comes in so handy, so useful for you to be able to use. Don't just rely on a GPS. I mean, I use my GPS a lot, and I count on it. I'm not saying I don't, but it's not the only thing that I look at. I look at a lot of different things to try to figure out what's going on. When I look at my load assignment, and it tells me the deadhead miles, and it tells me the loaded miles, and that doesn't match up when I plug that into my GPS, I know there's something wrong there. Something's not right. So then I go and I go and I look and say, okay, what's going on here? And I look at the map in the atlas, and I go from there. So it's really important that you look at those different things. Okay, make sure that you take the time to do that. Make sure that you have all the tools that you need to do this job, because the more time you're sitting, the less money you're earning. There's an old saying in truck driving: if the wheels aren't turning, you're not earning. So you need to make sure that you're not just sitting there. Even if your company pays you layover pay or detention pay, layover pay for most companies is only about $120, $125 a day. That's, you can make 3 or 4 times that by actually running versus sitting there, and then you end up getting behind. So you're not, it's nice for them to pay you something, but it's not good if you're losing money in the long run. So that's just a word for just a push to make sure that you have the tools that you need as far as that. All right. I appreciate everybody who's subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. If you're looking at coming to a different company and you're interested in Crete, Shaffer, or Hunt, please either send me your information, and I will get them to contact you, or you can call the number that's in the description below. Please give them my driver code. It is down below, CARR31. I'd appreciate it. I'm going to be honest with you. I do get a referral bonus if you put my information there. Once you come to Crete or Shaffer or Hunt, you can do the exact same thing. You don't have to wait. You can start getting referrals yourself, and you can start getting those kinds of bonuses too. It's just another good thing that this company has. But if you have any questions, please leave me a note below, or you can email me at my email address, which is DukeCityDevilDog, all one word, DukeCityDevilDog@gmail.com. Send me the questions, and I'll see what I can do for you. All right. I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year. Probably will post before the New Year, but I just want to make sure and let you know. And God bless. Take care. This is Rick, also known as Duke City Devil Dog. I'm in Maple Hill, Kansas, and I'm driving for Crete Carrier Corporation. I'm psyched. You guys have a great one. We will talk to you later.